I was gonna say I noticed that there are changes with this discourse since many years ago. So me and Marcus, we kind of like realized this whole native ancestry thing, like had a revelation of identity back in, at least for me, it was in 2020. I think for Marcus, it was around the same time. But I remember back then that if you got on Facebook or these other groups, like even if it was like groups outside of the native sphere, let's say, and you would say, oh, well, Mexicans, a lot of them are Native American racially. I remember back then in 2020, there would be people that would argue with you. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Like that's completely incorrect. And so you would argue with them and you would win the argument. But nowadays, the change I see 6 years later is that if I say that on a random post, like let's say my local news comment section, let's say they're talking about like, Mexicans and illegal immigrants or whatever, right? And I say that Mexicans are Native American racially, or a lot of most Latinos are. I don't have anybody arguing with me on that anymore. And I feel like it's because they know now and they realize that. And that message has circulated so much to even to where regular people now don't get pushback on that stuff. So I think that's a immense progress. And I have to say that has to be from your efforts and from a lot of people in your circle's efforts, because otherwise, how did this change? It's through social media that it changed.
Yes, we made that change because I remember all those people that pushed back on me, fought me. They would respond to my videos and like you know do these long worded, winded videos responses to me and stalk me, even doing like crazy things to me. But yeah, we would argue. Other people would argue with them, and we would just stick to our guns until, it took me years to formulate words and ideas that would stick in people's minds. And yeah, now I do have like a good formula that I stick to, and it is very direct and straightforward, and like I'll say things that like people people hear it and it makes sense to them. Like if you are not Native American or Mexican, you're an immigrant, you're a foreigner. And now I could say that now, but before people were gonna be like, what are you talking about? But it took years to get there. And now even you can hear like celebrities repeat that phrase because they know enough. I think it's really like the modern age too. It just helps that we have the internet, and they could quickly do some research about Mexicans and how this was our land before and how we've always been here. But definitely the effort was tremendous, and me and my friends were doing it. We were constantly posting on Instagram, making videos. We would have events. We would any event we would go to where we were invited, we would speak on this, and there would be all kind of people. There would be Latinos, there would be Native American tribes, there would be celebrities, there would be all kind of people at events, at protest events. As you know, I modeled, and anyone we got in contact with, we would educate them. We would educate our stylists, the photographers, everybody. So, and then we also would teach inside schools in the K through 12, college, all the levels. When we would get invited and get the opportunity, which I'm still open to, but yeah, we would always educate everyone when, and that has made a big impact. But definitely, overall, must have been the social media efforts because it just goes
Yeah, so
far.
many viral videos, like it just gets so much traction. And I think that's what changed a lot.